going on, everybody? And thanks for joining me again. We got a real special episode. This was in high demand. A lot of friends were asking, when is Terrell coming back? We loved him too much. Terrell Parker in the studio joining us again. Thanks for joining us, brother. I'm so glad.
All day.
Yo, so the football season is wrapped up. But then, on a silver platter, we were served with a whole nother new one. And, if you haven't noticed, it's a national holiday for us. This is going to come out on Friday. Terrell's probably not going to be as excited as I am, because he's a Ravens guy. But the Browns defense has been brought back from the catacombs, back from the ashes like a phoenix. And I'm so excited that Myles Garrett's back, man. So we got a lot to talk about. I don't know where do we want to start. Let's start with the XFL because I think we got a lot to talk about with the NFL, right? So this past Saturday, the XFL kicked off. I've got some numbers on their broadcasting and stuff, so we could really compare how they did. Yeah. But I just want to know on a personal level, you were telling me before the podcast, you did catch some of it. Yeah. What are your thoughts so far, and how do you think they're going to look?
I think it's a good league. I think it'll end up, if it's sustained, it'll be like a good like farm league. Like, remember the AAFL?
Yes.
A lot of those guys got opportunities after that. Like,
right?
Probably about 20 guys got, and 20 is way better than most leagues. So I think it'll make some noise if it can stay consistent. Because you see the crowds. The crowds was crazy.
It was huge.
Yeah, like
now,
the DC game was crazy.
Did you see the Houston game?
I didn't get the Houston game.
By the third quarter, it was like half full. So it was at the University of Houston.
But that stadium's huge, though.
It's a huge stadium, and it's only their first game. It was raining. Who's going to be going out in the middle of February?
Think about watching the XFL in the rain. Like, no disrespect to the XFL, but it's raining. Like it's going to be like a baseball game, like the 30th game of the.
That's a good point.
Like the 30th game of the season where. Just a doubleheader, the second game. Some people like, I'm just come get drunk and enjoy some football. So it got a chance to be a good league because the uniforms is cool. Some of the players actually are really good.
I really like the uniforms. Yeah. So real quick, not to derail us too much, but so I'm going to put up real quick. ESPN tweeted. Just real briefly on Saturday, so we don't know really on the overall on Sunday, but just briefly on Saturday, the averages for viewers. And so they got 3.3 on average million viewers, and the most was 4.0 million viewers, and that was that was at around 5 o'clock. So looking at the viewership, if you see down there in the lower left-hand corner, the top 5 local markets, number 1 market for viewing the XFL was Seattle. That should make sense because they had a football team.
Yeah.
Second place, Cleveland, Ohio. Third place, Columbus, Ohio. Okay? So I'm just saying, everybody knows this is fact. You football man from Maryland, fact on fact, the 2 most football states in the country, Texas and Ohio. Somebody needs to explain to me why Texas has 2 teams. We should just throw Columbus a team, and they could be like a farm team or something. Give Ohio something to cheer for. Obviously, we're watching.
Who wants to play in Columbus?
In February.
Honestly, who wants to play in like Columbus is a beautiful city, though. Like, the whole scene is nice, but I got my car towed in Columbus, so I'm a little. It's like a Wendy's or something across the street from the campus. Yes. I got my car towed over there. Well, it was my roommate's car, but.
So you got a grudge. I feel it.
But as far as the ratings, though, do you know that those ratings are higher than the NBA?
No way.
Yeah.
What? Hold on, real quick, just to compare. I looked at. This is the only stat the NFL is willing to give me. They won't give me the noon or the 4 o'clock game, but they'll give you the 8 o'clock primetime Sunday football game. Average viewership is 20 million. Yeah. So I was like, ooh, wow, XFL's they got a long way to go. But now, what's the NBA? They have so many games.
Look at the NBA ratings. I think that's the issue with the NBA right now. Like, they having trouble with getting people.
1.2 million.
Yes.
We are a football country.
Yes.
Understand the facts. Yes. What? Yes. 1.2.
Yes.
Now, here's a curious thing. What do you think the ratings were in, let's just say, 1999? Ballpark, higher or lower?
Low. I mean, it would be higher because it's more people sitting in front of a TV.
Boom.
But if you look back to when
9.2, 9.3.
If you look back to when the Warriors was dominating, the ratings was higher, though. There's no narrative right now in the NBA.
Oh, okay. So the highest rating they ever got was the 2007 NBA Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Series averaged at 9.3 million. So that's the highest they're normally getting, and that's a big game. The biggest they ever had was the 1987 Game 7 of the championship.
Was it Magic?
Yes.
Pretty sure.
So that's a huge game. So at their biggest, they're barely creeping up on an NFL Sunday. On an average NFL Sunday. So my question is, do you think the NBA has done that to themselves? Because outside of our conversations, Terrell, I've talked about on the podcast, I think the NBA shot themselves in the foot the way they're playing these. Everybody's picking teams. It's like a kickball game.
It's no longer, it's too much, sports is about narrative. It's too much buddy-buddy going on right now. I don't have no issue with guys being cool in the off-season, but it's like wrestling. I'm pretty sure the wrestlers hang out often.
Good point.
Yeah, in wrestling, though, they go against each other.
Or look at UFC. You're nailing it, man. Yeah. UFC, I just watched a 30 for 30 on Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, and they started off as best friends, and they hated each other because they had to fight each other. Yeah. But the whole time you're just seeing throughout the story how all of these guys are best friends outside of that octagon, but in the octagon they hate each other, and it's bleeding into football too. I just am not the biggest fan of seeing these guys, hugging and kissing after games.
The thing about football is it's hard to actually take it easy on a buddy on the field that plays receiver and you play corner. I don't really know. It can never be a thing where, oh, let me pull up because I know him. You're getting paid. This is your job. You can't pull up on a buddy. Maybe you don't lead with your head, or maybe you don't cut his knees out, but you're going to sling him on the ground somewhere. So it's hard to compare it. But for basketball, it's just, me and another guy. Let's just go play for this team because, I'm old school when it comes to basketball.
Yes.
I like when it was Michael Jordan and Pippen. I like when it was Shaq and Kobe. Rest in peace to Kobe. I like when it was when all the teams had two guys and you had I miss those days because it was competitive. And yeah, Jordan was the best player, but it was about 20 other guys that was really, really good. Nowadays, you look at the East All-Star team and you're like, who is this guy? How did he make the All-Star team?
And how about this? Wasn't it just this past weekend, or is it this upcoming weekend? This upcoming weekend is the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Is anybody excited to watch that?
Who watches it?
Bingo.
It's like the Pro Bowl almost. I actually enjoy the Pro Bowl.
All right,
I like
to talk to you about the Pro Bowl. I got something for you. So I'm a big Myles Garrett fan, if you haven't noticed. And he was in the he was going to be in the Pro Bowl this year, too, let's be honest. Yeah. But he was in the Pro Bowl last year. That was the only reason I was like, all right, for the first time ever, I feel compelled to turn on this charade and see what it looks like. Nothing's more agitating, because I'm specifically looking at a defensive lineman, watching them stand up and just patty cake each other, and it was or Myles Garrett would literally just stand up to emphasize to the camera that I'm not making the tackle because I can't make the tackle. Yeah. That was killer. I can't watch it anymore. Yeah. I'll watch my boy Juice Jarvis Landry winning dodgeball all day. I'll watch that all day.
Skills is definitely really good, but you got to think this too though. See, it's kind of hard to play at a level that you would play in during the season in the Pro Bowl because one, this is February, January, these guys is hurt probably. Once after week 4, everybody's injured at some point in some type of capacity. Everybody's banged up after week 4. Nobody's fresh anymore. So when you get to week, what that is? All right, so that's
16, 17.
That's week 20. That's week 20 of the season. Who wants to go out there and it's for fun? It's not for no check. You're not gonna get a big contract by doing good in the Pro Bowl. Nothing good comes. So it's kind of hard. You just gotta judge it for what you see. I enjoyed the Pro Bowl this year because Lamar Jackson did really well, and he got MVP. So it's I enjoyed the Pro Bowl because of that. But I get what you're saying though. It's kind of tough to watch.
You know what stinks is I think it was at such a young age I became so entrenched in the baseball All-Star game that now I hold these I want that same level of competition in all the other All-Star games, but I need to recognize you can't really do that in these types of sports. Yeah. I mean, you could easily do that in basketball. I mean, come on. It's a show. The Harlem Globetrotters are doing the same thing.
Basketball is entertaining when you watch the All-Star game, but sometimes it's just I seen the dunk contest already. I don't want to see you throw the ball between your legs and throw a oop in the All-Star game. We just watched that yesterday. Like, I don't want to see that. So.
Plus, it's worse because great players won't do that because it risks tarnishing their brand. Yeah. They might injure themselves. And so now we've got the only people doing a dunk contest are people that don't even make the All-Star game and are rookies that are trying to
Dwight
make a name
Howard
for
is in
themselves.
a dunk contest. Like,
wait, he's back in it?
Like,
yo, Superman's back!
No, sit down. Like, I would rather see Zion in the dunk contest.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
the man needs needs to go up against the veteran. Because let's be honest, what's one thing Dwight Howard is known for? I love Dwight Howard. His thing is the dunk contest. So Zion should come in here and want to dethrone the king.
Yeah, that's what it used to be. Like when Jordan went against Dominique and when Kobe and Vince Carter and all of them was in the dunk contest. That's what I'm used to. That was my time when I was growing up. So to see this stuff now, you got I don't even know these guys.
You don't know them. You can't know them.
Somebody that's just athletic that played 5 minutes a night. I mean, he playing in the NBA. No disrespect to him, but at the same time. The whole point of it is like the 3-point contest. You want to see Steph in it. You want to see Clay in it. You want to see Ray Allen in it because these guys are perennial shooters. You don't want to see. I don't want to see Dirk in the 3-point contest. Yeah. I really don't. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't want to see him on the court.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of
Dirk.
done.
Yeah, I like Dirk, but I want to see him in the 3-point contest. I'm cool with that.
I agree. I'm with you. So the NBA again, we got derailed, but they're slowly losing touch. It's becoming a show, and I respect that, but now it's no longer the game. It's become the show. So back to a real man's game, talking football. Yep. Okay, so let's just wrap up the XFL. So the rate... Oh, I got to show you this meme, dude. I couldn't wait to show you this. So... here we go. How about this one? Real quick. We'll end on the meme, but what do you think about... So the XFL... is claiming that Colin Kaepernick's salary demands are too high to bring him in. So looking at, for me, the best quarterback I saw, we were talking about that, it's looking like I'm going to be a DC Defenders fan. I think I'm going to try to get to a couple games this year because we're 2 hours away. Taking advantage of where I'm at, them not giving me a Cleveland or Ohio team, and Cardell Jones being the quarterback, being a big Buckeye. You know, it was so funny in college. So we're going, just a little side token story. My college roommate, hillbillies in Ohio, they got this giant barn. And we go through the barn like, American pickers. And we're going through this thing. And my dad's like, yo, that's pretty cool. We find this giant elk head. And my buddy's dad is like, you should take this to college. Long story short, we put it on the wall of our college house. It drove girls up a wall. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. And we named it Cardale because it was his last year with the Buckeyes. Yeah. It was just so fun. And we would cheer for the Buckeyes. We're like, you kill it, Cardale. So I have this real, intimate support for this guy.
What was it? What was the face?
It's giant elk head. And these girls would be like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And we're like, yeah, his name's Cardale. It was so fun. But I have become a DC Defenders fan, I'm feeling like. And Cardale, man, I loved him when he was 20-something for the Buckeyes. He is a rock. Like, he's just a big body, slow. He's accurate, but he's slow. He's kind of, sluggish. So, do you truly believe, I'm curious, because we really don't know. They kind of do, Nike or whoever's doing a great job of keeping Colin behind a screen where we don't get to really see his value. Yeah. Do you think he could make it in the XFL, and do you think it's a money thing?
He can make it in any league. The issue is, and I don't like to talk about Colin Kaepernick too much, but the issue is he don't want to play football.
That's what it seems.
Think about it. So if
the bigger money's from Nike, baby.
You just look at it like this. I got a friend, and it's a little story that he told me. I don't know. I think he's never lied to me before. So he's a boxer. He's from West Virginia, and he said that he's a heavyweight. So he said he be getting fights and stuff. So what's his name? The big bronze bomber. What's the boxer name? The top heavyweight right now.
Are we talking about
Wilder? Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder. He was asked to fight Deontay Wilder for I forgot what the price was. So he told them the only way I'm gonna fight is if you give me $200,000. He know they're not gonna give it to him, so he priced himself out.
Smart.
What you think, Colin? He don't want to play, but it's got to be some type of story for him not to play. Like, why? If this is the thing, everybody keeps saying, Colin, all he want to do is play football. Go play. My thing is, just go play.
Just go play.
Like, I don't understand. I get what he. I respect everything he did for the culture, for everybody. Like, it's commendable. I salute him. But I don't know, and if I'm missing something, I don't want to get in too deep into it. But I think I missed the part where I need to research more. But I think missed the part where it was Colin Kaepernick versus the NFL. I don't know. I don't know when did that become. I guess when he didn't get signed, I think I got lost on the situation. That was the turning point.
Yeah, is when the rhetoric, and it isn't being peddled by him, right? It's the society around him. It's people putting words in his mouth or what they want it to be, and they just perceive. Well, you started this. Yeah. Now you started this movement. Justified in and of itself, but also now you're no longer in the league. Well, it's clearly then because of this. Yeah. And it seems to be peddled by people who don't watch football, right? Because it's pretty common knowledge. He had contracts that he turned down with the Broncos, and he thought he had higher value than what he was being given. So I think it's very, I don't know, it doesn't seem irrational that this could be what's going on in the XFL because, like you pointed out, you could do any of this if you wanted.
He can play in the CFL, he can play in the XFL. It's a million leagues out here that he can play in and go. These people will give him do you remember when Terrell Owens played for the Arena Wranglers? They gave him an ownership stake. Just so he can come play in the league. Y'all remember when No, that wasn't Tim Tebow that went to Canada. Cinco.
And guess who I was going to bring up next? Money Manziel. On an opposite token, he was a failure. He was a druggie. He falls out of the league, and his comeback in, his agent goes, he does plan on coming back to the NFL. He goes to the Canadian Football League as a way to show himself, but what did everybody see? Oh, wait, you suck the way we thought you did, and that actually hurt him.
He threw 4 picks in
the first game.
Yeah, but for Colin Kaepernick, though, he's an amazing talent, one of the better quarterbacks. He transcended. He did a lot of things for the NFL, and what he did and for the for all the justice and all that stuff. I respect that, but like I come from this place where I was once a person that was a free agent chasing that NFL dream. And I know a million guys that would die to get even the small opportunities that he get. To even, like that workout that they set up in Atlanta. Like I know a million guys that would have just went and just did it. I know it's bigger than that for me, but me personally, from my perspective, I think if you really want to play football, football has changed so many guys from my environment life that you either play or you don't. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to pick a side and you stay on it. That's my thing.
100%.
Don't try to keep mixing it because it's also everybody. They like argued about the guys in the NFL ain't stand up for Cap and things like that, but these people got families too. They bust to get here too. I get what y'all saying about we need to stand up, but like these guys got to make money, man. Colin Kaepernick was a $50 million man when he did the knee thing. Some of these guys is a $200,000 man.
Not even $20,000.
These guys got to find their lane, and you got to let them. So it's hard for people to say, "Oh, you wrong." Like, man, play football, man. That's my biggest. That's the moral to my story, man.
And to sign on the dotted line to further emphasize Terrell's point, if you haven't already, please do us a favor. Go see the Rethink Take episode where Terrell came on the first time. I think it was episode 14. It's somewhere in the mid to late teens. But I only say that because Terrell gave us his whole story of him going through college to two different professional football leagues, one in Canada, one in Germany, and the greatest takeaway I had from hearing Terrell's story and getting to talk with him was learning about how hard he had to grind to open doors for himself. He was his own agent. So this is coming from a perspective from somebody who had to constantly go to team managers and league managers and sell themselves. And for this guy to be given these opportunities and poo-poo them is like, it just didn't happen. Did it really not just happen? Because I've already had an hour-and-a-half conversation with somebody who made it happen for themselves when all the doors were locked and closed. And
just to piggyback off of that kind of sort of, we're not going to talk about this too much, but the biggest thing I can say is those people that Colin Kaepernick are like kneeling for, the social and the cops, I come from that environment. I'm from Baltimore. The Freddie Gray thing, I know about all of that thing, all of those things. So it's like for me, I get what he's doing, but like at the end of the day, man, play ball, bruh. Play ball. That's my thing. Play ball. The NFL is not a place. These people come to watch football. They don't come to watch. Go to the White House and do that. Do that on Instagram. Like, you got other platforms. That's just my take. And I may not be up on all of the information about it, but that's just what I gathered and what I got from it. I'm all about playing because I was my own agent and all that stuff. So I know how I feel to never get opportunities. This man got a few opportunities. He don't want to play. I just feel like he don't want to play. And if he don't want to play, that's respectable. But just do what you got to do. You're making way more money not playing. So just stay over there. It's okay. Yeah, what are you proving?
I think it's a fantastic. What are you proving?
Like the whole Atlanta thing, like, man, he came to the second workout with a Kunta Kinte shirt on. Do you know who Kunta Kinte is? Man, that man was a slave. You ain't no slave. Like
with white parents, remind you.
Yeah, but you're not even without take the parents out of just him perspective. You're not a slave, bro. Don't like. Is that shirt a statement of what? Like. But anyway, man, we ain't even got to talk about it no more.
No, I agree. Yeah. So ending the XFL conversation on a funnier note, dude, I found this meme. This geeks me out because this would be an awesome entertainment opportunity for anybody to jump on. But the meme is putting up here. At the end of every XFL season, the winner of the XFL championship should play the worst NFL team that season under XFL rules. And then if the XFL team wins, they will be promoted to the NFL, and the NFL team will be demoted to the XFL. Now, that's something that people would watch. I think that would be fantastic.
Man, that XFL team will get stopped. Look, let's just do this. Who's the worst team this season? The Bengals, right?
Yeah. Bengals.
Nobody in the XFL can touch Joe Mixon.
You think so?
Joe Mixon is probably one of the better running backs.
Okay,
man, he will rush for 300 yards against them. Think about it. AJ Green.
Wait, but the Bengals defense weren't able, or the Bengals offense weren't able to do anything with Joe Mixon because they don't have no line.
Who in the XFL can block Carlos Dunlap? That's what I'm just saying. Like, we can play these games with the NFL. Like the NFL is whatever. But the NFL is still an NFL. It's still the most dominant sport in the world. So
it's a great point.
Like, that's a cool little meme, but like that wouldn't, man. Who would want to watch? You would watch that?
Oh, I would kill to watch that.
That's like watching Alabama play Appalachian State. Like I wouldn't watch.
Okay, I think I'd want to watch it one time, and then once I see for my own eyes that the best XFL team is just dog doo-doo.
I think Alabama would probably be. Yes, you don't think so?
I mean, they do have NFL caliber talent.
Honestly,
they got future NFL talent on there.
Do you truly believe that an XFL team could beat Clemson?
See, here's what really stinks, though, is I spent this weekend watching XFL teams play XFL teams. So for you saw Canadian football players, and it was all Canadian football players. Or same thing for the German league. For me, it's hard to tell because these are grown adults that are still doing athletic things that I couldn't do in my dreams.
There's some good players. There's some great players, actually. But at the same time, though, like, coming from a perspective like of me watching the NFL, you gotta take into consideration like some of these guys actually was in the NFL and it didn't. And they didn't.
That's
you get what I'm saying. So it's like no disrespect to them. Maybe it's all about timing and scheme and all those different things why some guys don't pan out. But NFL teams don't really miss that much on a player that's just really that good that could be a starter. So you got to remember that too. I truly believe that it's some Canadian teams that'll run the tables on them XFL teams. It's talent. It's way more talent in Canada than it is.
Because they've had that recruiting flow for
and
years.
That's their league.
It's established.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's different up there.
All right. There was one last article that I want to throw your way. I want to get your idea on before we move on from the XFL. So again, you saw it Saturday. I watched it Saturday. Most of my friends I've spoken to watch. Nobody really watched it Sunday, which is weird. It's a Sunday sport, so it's interesting. Nobody really watched it Sunday. I think it's because they didn't really do evening games. But aside from all of that, I watched Saturday. You watched Saturday. Talking about the Seattle Dragons. Their coach Scott Hansen was a former Washington coach, so he coached in the NFL. And this is just a quick little blurb on Jim Zorn. We got it via Scott Hansen of the Seattle Times. Okay. So Jim Zorn, who was the Washington coach, who now is the Seattle Dragons coach, he was talking about how he's absolutely shocked how much the XFL actually broadcasts. And so just kind of a little blurb here. He was saying, I think it gave a fan a chance to hear and see something they've never heard before, but I felt very exposed. Information on a football team has to be guarded a little bit. So we just got right out there, and I knew it had to be fun for everybody, but not super fun for me to reveal all of that stuff that I've worked hard on. But I was glad I didn't stutter or fumble the play calls. So it's interesting, and again, I only watched it that Saturday. The second game I had on mute, but watching that first game, I was shocked how much of the coach they had mic'd up, literally calling the play. And I think it's a great opportunity for the viewer to learn football, to learn the right plays to play at the right time, what works, what doesn't, kind of the intercommunication between a coach and a player, how that all works. But also, as this coach points out, all of this is under lock and key for a reason. This is what gives you the edge on a game day. So how do you feel? It's great as a fan to get to see this, but it also, you would have better insight on this than me, but I gotta believe this can be detrimental to a team if other teams do a good enough job studying the gameplay.
It eliminates Spygate, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the Astros and the Patriots are done, baby. You
ain't got to worry about that. They can just sit there and, he said this.
Just put on Fox.
Yeah, but I think the whole purpose of the XFL was supposed to be more for the fans. It's a fan experience. Give give the fans an opportunity to, really get a chance to really be inside of the game. That's basically what it is. Because I think one of those games, the kicker missed the field goal, threw the mic in his face right after. I'm like, I hope they do that to the refs too. It would be nice if they, after the refs blow a call or it's a controversial call, hey, what made you make that decision? Like, what? So I get what they trying to do, but
they got to do it to the refs.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, it's just for the fans. I think right now they just trying to get some traction, so they giving you everything, they throwing everything on the wall. It's like evidence. Remember he said throw everything on the wall and hope it stick. I think that's what we getting right now with the XFL. They trying all these different things just to see if it works. And if
so, what do you think of this? Do you think it'll work? Do you see it flopping?
I think honestly, I think it'll work, but I think they need to try their hardest to try to stay away from demanding anything from the NFL or competing with the NFL.
Yes, I 100% agree.
If they can just keep it as a spring league for all the people that love football and want to watch football year round, if they just focus on that narrative, don't have it on the combine. When the combine is on, stay away from that. During draft time, stay away from that. Like, just try to keep it away from all things NFL related. They'll be fine. I think a lot of people. Arena lasts a long time.
Yes,
it lasts a very long time.
Is it out? Is arena football done?
Yeah, I think. It's small leagues and stuff, but I think the ones on TV, I think they done.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they done.
I gotta see. You know what was so? Cleveland Gladiators were so fun to watch, and they dominated the Arena Football League.
I actually was supposed to sign with them at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been fun.
Yeah, it would have been cool, but it was just at a time where I was CFL, NFL. I wasn't really trying to hear nothing else, so it's kind of got my own way almost.
Oh, whoa. So, statement from the Arena Football League Commissioner, Randall B.O.E. The Arena Football League announced today.
Chapter 7.
This is, I don't know what the date on this. This is just literally their site. So, Today, it was filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
It's over. It's just like small leagues, so they got indoor football and things like that, but the Arena Football League is done, yeah.
That was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think that's what the XFL can bring you, and it's outside, too. And it's the springtime, so once it get warm, people out having it's like baseball.
Right.
And they got to stay away from baseball.
That's it, too.
If the Yankees and the freaking Boston Red Sox are playing, hey, y'all better not have no games that day. It's just one of those things where if they stay until they gain some real traction, like year 3, year 4, then they can start trying to make moves. But until then, keep being interesting. Like, I love the kickoff with the guys. It eliminates, you got a man on man. You got to beat your man and make a tackle. And you still got to make a play on a returner. I love that. So it's like little things that they do that I enjoy, but it's just they got to keep trying innovative things.
And I everything you say, I think has full credence. I couldn't agree more. What's really interesting, though, is just taking the conversation to the NFL where we're moving to. That's going to be our next topic. So the NFL, what's interesting is they're doing the opposite. They're making little changes that's pissing everybody off. So it finally dawned on me. I came across a video of Josh Cribbs at some it was some kind of like charity event, and all these people are going crazy. Oh my God, Josh Cribbs, how you doing? This is a guy whose career started and ended in Cleveland. When he left us, it was over. Yeah. But he will go in the he probably won't be. He definitely won't be.
I thought he was the best player on the team.
Definitely during that period. Yeah. But we had Peyton Hillis with him at some point too, and he was pretty
1 year.
There was a point where Peyton Hillis drove his career into the ground too.
Josh Cribbs was the best player on the team. However you slice the cake, he was the only person that was scoring.
No, so hold on. I'm sitting there, and it dawns on me. Josh Cribbs, again, will always be in the record books, will always have, because he was the last of the Mohicans. And then it dawns on me, I have not seen a kickoff return to a touchdown since they've changed that rule. So they're kicking from, the 50 now to the 40? They're kicking from the 40. It's always touchbacks. And then that brought me back to the Josh Cribbs days where he was the only scorer on our team, and he didn't even score on offense. He was a big player on our offense, but he scored on kickoff return. The fact that kickoff returns to touchdowns have become a foreign, arena for us, that's upsetting. And that's credence to the NFL's making little rules to make it safer so we don't have to worry about a lawsuit.
I'm not gonna lie to you though, man. From a player's perspective, kickoff is dangerous, man.
It's terrifying, but come on. Hold on. Okay, here's where me and you have dissonance, right? You took it to a professional level where, shit was dangerous. Yeah. Things were real. You were with beasts. But for me, we had this kid, again, I only played the first year of college. We had this kid. I hope this doesn't, get me kicked off from the bar, taking the bar exam. But this kid would line up, this man.
You sure you want to say this?
I don't care. It is hilarious.
Okay.
His name was Charles. Real short, round black kid. He was, I was 20. I think I was actually 18, 19 years old. This dude was 28. He would line up, and he's just he would make eye contact with the dudes across from him. He's just kick off, knock your dick off. Kick off, knock your dick off. That, I will never get that out of my head. We would die laughing, and he would pick a guy out, he could be the third line. He's yo, you, number 63. Kick off, knock your dick off! And he would just keep yelling that until the ball got kicked, and he literally would never make the tackle, but just run through that guy.
See?
But kickoff was fun, man. It was dangerous.
Now, listen, if guys like him, right? Yeah. I love guys like him. Because when they figure out on film that he's the guy, and they put those two defensive tackles in the wedge, and they let him run free, nobody blocks him, and that wedge meet him, he's going to the hospital. He's going under that blue tent.
The blue tent.
Yeah, he better. That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. Kickoff is the. I remember when I was playing in Canada, and I was a left guard on kickoff or tackle. I can't remember what it was called. And I had number 4, and I was counting, and number 4 was a DN. He was 6'2", 260, and he was fast. I was hoping that he got, you got to turn and run, and then you got to meet him. He was already full speed. So when I met him, he literally ran me over. I was holding on. He was dragging me down the field. And what I did was I pulled myself up and came around, and I boxed him out like basketball. And I said from that day forward, I realized if I would have took this guy head on, because he was coming at me, I got out his way. I was I realized from that, kickoff is dangerous, man. So I get it.
It is.
I get it, because that, man, I seen a lot of people get killed on. One of these guys in college, he hit the wedge, and he was laying there. He just was laying there, sleep. He just was just like this. I was like, all right. I see. For me, that's where we agree to disagree when it comes to kickoff.
That's fair.
I miss the returns. Devin Hester, it was fun, but there's a lot of other fun plays in football outside of that. I'd rather see guys.
And see, that's it. And that's where the fan, because you got to remember, 20 million people are watching a game,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The average viewer, they dropped off in high school. Their career ended there.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it's like to take the next step, then to the next step. So you know the actual ceiling to the dangers of these things.
I mean, but
more than a fan would.
For the average fan, just look at it like this. So what is it? 46 guys who dress, or 44? I can't remember how it works, right? So more than likely, one of your starting players is going to be on kickoff.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's what?
Oh, right.
Like one of your linebackers, your DBs. One of them. It's a possibility that one of your starters will be on kickoff.
Would you not want them on kickoff? Why
But I'm just
aren't
saying,
a lot of the starters on there? I'm just curious.
But that's what I'm getting at. Listen,
all right,
so,
right. Oh, so statistically, at least.
Imagine one of your starters on kickoff. So imagine let's see, let me think. Who was a player for Cleveland Browns? Myles Garrett.
Boom. Okay.
Or who I love who's the DB that y'all got? Ward. I like Denzel Ward. Imagine him on kickoff, right? He run down there and he hit that wedge and he's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
On one play. Yeah,
for him being on kickoff, because it's so dangerous and the possibility of you getting hurt is higher than a lot of other things. How would you feel as a fan?
I would feel the same way I feel when I watch XFL or when I turn on UFC and it's a knockout in one round. I'd be like, well, this is what I signed up for. Yeah, I agree with you. It would really suck if if Denzel Ward was out for the game and he's one of our prime defensive players.
Would you if Myles Garrett was on there and he got hurt rather than getting suspended, you would be upset, right?
I would be bummed, but I think, hold on, I want both sides. It's a double-edged sword. I want both sides of that sword. At the same token, when I'm losing Myles Garrett, I want, even if it's not on the Browns, I want the Jets to have a Josh Cribbs. I just want to see that.
I get that.
There's a lot of fun in watching that 90-yard run.
I get that, but like,
where you're like,
it can happen still because it's still they still kick it off and things like that. But I'd rather see that Tyreek Hill running that deep route than.
Yo, and that Super Bowl, that was crazy.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it's give or take. We got to give something to take something. So, what would you rather see? Josh Cribbs running the kickoff back, or Tyreek Hill?
I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of would. But the deep pass is cool. But I'm just saying, because I guess, you know what, it's a nostalgic thing. I'm thinking back to me being a kid, right? There was something about just this awe, being 11 years old at a Browns game.
Yeah.
We had seats that were like third row across from the dog pounds. We're in the end zone. This dude would catch the ball right in front of you. What's crazy, man, and I can't emphasize this enough, he was doing it all the time. Yeah. Josh Cribbs is an anomaly because he did it all the time.
He was a really good returner. Like when he got in on offense, he made stuff happen sometimes.
Yes.
But the thing is, though, like, for me,
I love Josh Cribbs. I
thought he was great. I used to tell my roommate. My roommate's a Browns fan. I used to tell him all the time, "That's the best player on your team." At that time,
You're right.
He was the best player on the team. Like
I used him everywhere.
Everywhere.
We would do Wildcat with Josh Cribbs
because he was the best player. That's what they say. Get the ball to your best players. But think about it though. Like so, for instance, Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
We could just use him as an example. Did you watch the games this year?
I loved watching him.
And every time he got the ball and he broke the line, you was like, "This is amazing, right?"
Yes, great point.
But if guys taking it to, you miss a lot of that stuff.
Wait, hold on. But I got to throw it right back at you. My rebuttal, though, to that point is Lamar Jackson, what made that running the ball 25 yards, what made that so awe-inspiring is because of the danger of a quarterback doing that, right? Just like the danger of returning a kickoff return. It's like he's risking a lot. He could take a hit that could really...
But that can happen at any time, right?
But the quarterback...
Yeah, but you gotta remember these guys is tuned up, man. Like it's a little bit
they're
different.
At the prime.
Y'all know that he been running his whole life. Like he's been I think people forget that he's been a running quarterback his whole life. I know the NFL is different, but he's not. He's won the Heisman doing the same exact thing, and he should have won it the next year.
He should have.
And I think that he played against Clemson. He played against the big schools. Like, if you watch his games. He may get hit hard maybe once or twice every 2 to 3 games.
And he takes it.
Yeah.
You don't see...
He's big. He's not small. Like I think that's what people don't understand. Like,
well, you know what it is he's encompassed in a freshman class with a midget who looks fat, Baker Mayfield, and Darnold who looks like he's in college. So, yeah, exactly. So we encompass him with bumps on the log. So it's easy to brush over this. what makes LeBron so spectacular? LeBron could be good at any sport. He could do baseball. He could do football. He was a football player.
I want to disagree with the whole narrative that LeBron could be great at every sport and here's why. He's 6'8". He's 260. What position he gonna play in football?
He definitely would be too soft to play tight end. I was gonna throw tight end there.
He's too soft, right? You think he's too soft?
I think he's too soft to be a tight end.
He'll get. I think the NFL will toughen you up, right?
That's a great point.
But then you got to think, what he'll play on defense? Defensive end.
I just don't see him as a defensive player.
That's what I'm saying. But so just say tight end receiver.
Yeah,
tight end receiver, big receiver, nice size tight end.
You don't think he could do better than Travis Kelce?
No. No. How? This is just man. Travis Kelce is probably
one of the best
tight ends in the league. Yeah, it's like one of those things where football is not basketball where you can just throw a player because of his physical attributes. You can just throw him in. How many guys? Remember you were an Ohio State fan. Remember Vernon Golston?
Yeah,
he's a freak athlete. He got to the league. What happened?
It just ended.
That's what I'm saying. And you can be the best looking freakish athlete in the world, but you got to be able to play football. It's a different type of mindset.
1 in a million, or maybe 1 in a 500 million, there's a Bo Jackson, right?
And it's a few Bo Jacksons, but it's like one of those things where it's like once you pick that side, you can't like they say like Kyler Murray. Like football and baseball is different. You can't
polar opposites.
Yeah, but football and basketball, guys is not transitioning from football to the NBA. It's never happened. Who did it?
No, yeah,
that's never happened. Guys, you can transition from the NBA to football, but how much success are we actually having? You get guys that's decent, but by then these guys been playing football their whole life.
Right.
It's like
that's a great point.
It's like if you think about it, like for instance, like people criticize Baker Mayfield, right? Baker Mayfield was good in high school. He was a walk-on. He waited. He transferred and everything. He hasn't played a bunch of football. Like Kyler Murray hasn't played a bunch of football in his career.
That's a great point.
So it's like
too.
These guys, like if you crucify, like Baker Mayfield had a bad year, but it's the sophomore slump. It's normal. It is normal.
Right.
A lot of his situation was he talked too much.
He got distracted.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make, the overall big picture I'm trying to make is like, it's about reps.
Right.
Repetition is key. LeBron not just about to come and just play football and think it's just going to happen. No. Rico Gathers, he played for Baylor, he played for the Cowboys, he just got cut.
Right.
They tried to turn him into a football player. It doesn't work out. He was a big, strong guy. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's my point with that.
No, I feel that. And I think that's a perfect transition into... so we'll start off with Tom, but I want to kind of hear maybe some other free agent players that you've got in mind. But let's kind of talk free agency going into this next season. So we wrapped up the last season. Super Bowl champs are exactly who I would have hoped it for. The 49, I just don't need more 6-ring people. We can limit that club as much as we want.
I don't think it was their time anyway.
Right.
Yeah, because I want to see them have another... Yeah, Andy Reid deserves it. But I want to see them have another good year.
That's true, too.
That's another
do you
thing
think they can? Do you think we see the same 49ers?
They built for the long run. They built.
The
way they built that team is for the long run.
Okay.
It seemed
now, same thing to the Chiefs. They're built for the long run.
They're built for the long run, but
do we see now? I don't know the details. When do we start seeing Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins? Their contracts start wrapping up.
I think Kelce and Hill got him out the way beginning of the season, so he's already in the contract. I think it actually helped out that he got into that situation that he got in because they got a chance to get him at a cheaper rate.
Yep.
So that helped out. I think Kelce got out the way last year. I'm not mistaken. I don't remember when Kelce got out the way. And then Sammy got signed to them. And they was talking about Sammy might be taking a year off or something like that. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Why would he do that?
I think what we don't understand is with the Chiefs type of system and Andy Reid, it's kind of like outside of Tyreek Hill and Kelce, it's plug and play, honestly. It's kind of like plug and play.
These players are. And
I want to make a bold prediction really quick about the Chiefs.
Let's hear it.
I think Kareem Hunt gonna sign back with the Chiefs.
I think you're right.
I think it feel good.
We
to me.
do have him locked down for one more year.
Oh, y'all got.
We got him for one more year.
I thought he only signed a 1-year deal.
We were able to sign him again.
Option.
It was, and you know what really stinks is just a couple of months ago, somebody was interviewing him, and they said, we cannot wait for an entire season of you and Chubb together. And he responded with, well, I just think it's a shame that you guys will never get a chance to see that. So all the fans went crazy. Oh, this means he's leaving us. But they ended up getting him on lock.
And that's the thing about the Chiefs. It's like, yeah, they built for the long run, but their offense makes their defense good because it they put teams in a position where they gotta pass. And any team is good when a team is one dimensional.
Yes.
When the Chiefs get on the ropes, man, and they can't stop nobody, like I watched that Ravens versus Chiefs game early in the season. The Ravens had a bunch of injuries on defense. Jimmy Smith was out, no Tavon Young, linebackers. It was a lot of injuries. So and it was still a great game, right? But it was just like Patrick Mahomes can do a lot of things, but he also get away with a lot of things. And I think we crowning him so fast that he's the greatest ever. And it's like, why we don't do that with all like you think about it, they dog Baker. They dog Lamar. They dog Deshaun.
Even Garoppolo doesn't get the praise.
I thought Garoppolo played amazing in the Super Bowl, but he had those 2 bad throws at the end. And everybody, it's just like the end of the world. It's like sometimes, man. I was watching an interview of Colin Cowherd, and he was with Aqib Talib, and he was talking about how these guys only get better when you keep having constant coaching changeover, it affects the player. And it's like, I think a lot of people like, oh, this guy sucked. Garoppolo have another year with Mike Shanahan. Well, what's his name? Shanahan, the son, Kyle Shanahan.
Yes.
He'll have another year with him, and
he
it'll
was
just keep getting better.
It's
just one of those things where, and the point I was trying to make is that I think the Chiefs is built for the long run, but it's a lot of other teams. I think rosters are a lot better.
Really?
Yes.
So, okay. First, before we move on to the article then, so who do you think then have the better than the 49ers, better than the Chiefs, who do you see as the strong rosters moving in the next season?
I mean, obviously I'm going to say the Ravens because I'm a fan.
And they were great.
Yeah,
I'm
going
to be honest with you, it looked like they kind of fell apart there in the final playoff game.
All I'm going to say is about the playoff game is you ever been in a situation where, or you was like, you ever went somewhere or did something where like everything bad that could have happened? That's what that game was. It wasn't like you can't pinpoint one thing that went wrong. It was just like everything that could have went wrong. And it's like,
listen, that was one game.
That's what I'm saying.
They only lost 2 other games.
Yeah, that's the part that people like. That's where they criticize it. And Lamar Jackson had 500 yards in that game. I don't think. And everybody always talk. I hate the whole narrative of garbage minutes. There's no such thing as garbage minutes in the NFL. It's still the NFL. Like you always one possession away from something.
Right.
So yeah, I say the Ravens.
So the Ravens.
Who else I think it has a pretty. You know who I think is going to actually be good in the long run? The Denver Broncos.
I think so too.
Drew Lock is a really good quarterback, man. And I
they've
think
been building the offense around him.
And their defense always good. I like Denver. The Rams will be back next year. They got a good coach.
You think?
Yeah.
What was with the Rams this year? They had all the pieces. They just did nothing with them.
The Super Bowl. Think about it. Every year, the Super Bowl loser, they struggle to make it back.
That's a great point.
Like the Falcons when they played the Patriots.
The Seahawks had the same issue.
They struggled to get. It's one of those things where it's like so much pressure and you only thinking about the big game, so you kind of lose sight of what's in front of you. It's one of those situations. I think they'll be good. Seattle, of course. I think Dallas got one of the best rosters in the league, man. I think, man, like top to bottom, they got a good roster.
So let's talk about Dak. He is regarded as one of these greater quarterbacks of the league, but he really doesn't show up when you need him to the most.
See, it's tough to say that because it's other factors into it. Like what I say is like I keep seeing a lot of articles about like Dak don't deserve the money, Dak whatever. But then you got to think, who they gonna replace Dak with?
And he's the whole team. They built
where are you gonna find can you find a Dak in free agency? Can you find a Dak in a draft? Like you just can't. I just don't understand sometimes when they talk about they should move on. Like move on. Like that's the one position where you can't just move on from a quarterback.
Especially a franchise quarterback that you've built an entire roster around.
I forgot. Green Bay is going to be good.
Really, I feel like nobody wants to say it. Nobody's going to push the pin because they're definitely not doing it with Tom. We'll talk about Tom, but I feel like is Aaron Rodgers not on the downswing? Because I am surely believing so.
See, but if you look up his stats.
Listen, man, listen. I am a fan. So when we talk about the shortcomings of a fan, The only thing I care about is you losing my fantasy league 2 years in a row.
Fantasy will make you want to really, really question, is a player good?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think...
And they're good, and then fantasy screws you, you're right.
Yeah, fantasy takes your judgment because it's like, who was the player that I had on my fantasy team 2 years in a row, and they just like completely... I can't even think of it right now. I'm not even going to say it. But I said Green Bay because I think Green Bay was, 12-4 this year?
Yeah, they had a good...
You don't sneak and be 12-4. I don't know. New England always going to be good. Another team that'll be decent this year, the Jets. People,
they should have been good this year.
Yeah,
they had a couple shortcomings with mono and everything.
Yeah, C.J. Mosley got hurt early. He took a couple injuries. A lot of bad things happened. And they got a new front office. And those guys, they're going to do what they got to do over there. And you'll see, I guarantee you, this time next year, not this time next year. Well, this time next year, the Jets will have a way better season than they did. They won some big games. It's just they got a young quarterback. They're going to build a great roster. They're going to build a great roster. I guarantee you. The Jets, did I miss anyone?
No, so my question for you then, talking about the Jets then, is what do you think we can expect from Le'Veon Bell?
I think he might get traded.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
he
really,
didn't seem to work for the Jets, and that's why I was curious when you were talking
nobody really worked for the Jets because their offensive line was bad. Like, they had a bad offensive line. So, for me, Le'Veon, in that situation that he's in, I think those people probably want a clean house. They probably, they signed him to a big contract, and it was just one of those situations where he actually didn't have a bad season. He just was on a bad team.
Right.
And I think between him and AB, they starting to realize how good it is in Pittsburgh as opposed to other places with Big Ben. You ain't go. There's not a lot of Big Bens just laying around out here. Like, it's a little bit different. So but Le'Veon, I think, I don't know. I honestly don't think he'll be there next year. But who am I? Who knows? That's just
interesting. I'd be curious to see that. So I get one of the one Yahoo article that I pulled for us here is the NFL rumors why the Patriots are willing to let Tom Brady test free agency, aka what's his face, the owner of the Patriots. What's his name? I can't even remember, the Chinese massagist guy.
Oh, Robert Kraft?
Yeah, Robert Kraft.
I like Robert Kraft.
Suggested to Tom to shop around. So why would he do that? Do you see him still ending up at New England?
Did he do it? That's the thing. Did Robert Kraft really do that? See, I don't believe no reports that come from the Patriots. They don't never give reports. So I don't understand how these people be. I think these are all speculations with this team because they did go 12-4. Let's not forget they went 12-4. Tom Brady didn't have the normal weapons that he would normally have.
That's a key point.
When he had all those guys at the beginning of the season, they
in a better line,
clicking on all cylinders. So it's like, I ain't mean to snap, but it's like we gotta watch out for the Patriots rumors. Like we don't. Tom Brady's 42. He might retire. He might call it quits, but I doubt it. I'd see him playing.
Hey man, he took a big hefty Hulu check to say he ain't going anywhere.
I believe he might not go nowhere, but I don't think he. Think about him playing for another team. Think about all of the new coordinator. Gotta move. This is year 20? Imagine playing for a team for 20 years, and then your 21st year you go play for another team. It don't even sound right.
Exactly. And then imagine tarnishing your legacy, right? You have to go to that next team, and it has to be great. Because if it's not, you've tarnished your legacy. Whereas, just pick the player. You look at Peyton Manning, his career wasn't the best the last couple of years, but he still ended off on teams where he had rapport. And so I think for your last year or 2 years to be at a new team is just too big of a risk for the brand.
I don't see it. I don't even, like when I see stories about Tom Brady and they talk about Tom Brady and stuff, it's like, are we really, really about to sit here and believe that Tom Brady's going to go play for another team at year 22? Like, I just don't, I don't see the logic. And then on the flip side of that is the simple fact that Tom Brady is 42. He didn't have a terrible year, but I think we put Tom Brady at this high standard, but statistically, he's never been. He had Randy Moss in them for that year. He was crazy. But before that, Tom Brady never had crazy stats. His stats was always middle. He'd done everything they needed to win the games. And it's like, I think championships made us believe that Tom Brady was this just crazy, like, statistical quarterback. Yeah, he got some great stats, but they not Peyton Manning stats.
Right.
So it's like, he's not going to play for another team. It's a lot of things that I don't pay attention to.
I feel the same way. If he's going anywhere, to the Patriots, and if not, he retires.
Yeah, and if he goes somewhere else, Man, this is the NFL is better than wrestling. Let's just gotta go with that, man.
And then we gotta have them, fight out against the XFL champion. So yeah, last thing to talk about. I know that, that I had flagged here, and then we'll kind of wrap up our final thoughts. But yo, man, Myles Garrett is back today, and for them it'll be 2 days after the fact. But he is back, and I'm so excited. For me, it feels like this was just such a hush thing. I literally woke up to a friend sending me an article, and I was like, yo, he's back! I gotta believe when they brought him in, the NFL brought him in to have his final appeal, that they told him that this was coming. Because you never heard from him. He never sent a tweet. And it really didn't have a whole lot of buzz, that I feel like this was the NFL's plan to kind of sneak him back into the league. Because there wasn't a lot of coverage. Listen, that second day or 3 days following
fresh,
the helmet,
though.
Everybody was, kill him!
Nah, it's fresh. See, I think we live in that consumers, like, everything got to be fast in the world now. So I think for initially, it was bad. It was bad. Like, I don't care. However you slice the cake, who was wrong, he punched him in. However you put it, he took a helmet, and had that dude not moved, or that, if it would have been the crown of that helmet, he could have ended that man's life. So it's like, and this is a big guy. So imagine the force. He swung that with force. So it's like, it was bad, but initially, it was bad. And then he realized he made a mistake. Because you seen him on the ground when Pouncey was on him. He just was like, I messed up. And it's like, he's a kid at the end of the day. He's the biggest,
he's younger than me.
Yeah, he's if you ever watch, he's look like the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yo,
it's like,
the man can eat me for breakfast. He is and that's what has made me so compelled in this story, right? We are not talking about Aaron Hernandez. We are talking about the nicest person in the league.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's what killed me. When, we go to a school in Pennsylvania. Nobody likes the Browns, and they surely don't like Browns players. So when I'm the only one going free Miles, the amount of people that are like, he should never play. I hate just the amount of hate.
But that's the thing.
I think it's bias. I think it's if it was any other player that you had affection for, that you knew better, you wouldn't be feeling the same.
I think I said this on your last podcast. I said. I think we quick to crucify the players for like making a mistake. It was a terrible mistake, and I know he know it was terrible.
But it's a human mistake.
And he paid. What did he miss? How many games did he miss?
6.
That's 6 paychecks. That's a lot of money he missed, man.
And he missed us going to the playoffs.
Yeah,
he plays for us. Listen, man, I want to have this conversation with you big time because I feel like we should have beaten you twice in one season. Yeah. And I know you don't feel the same.
Think about that.
But I'm telling you, if you had that man shutting down Lamar's running game, it's over, bro.
They can't shut down Lamar's running game.
You watch that game.
The first weeks of the season, it was all cool. They was figuring it out. But when they ran it, that Ravens train got the rolling.
Listen, man.
They went against the Patriots.
The Ravens train barely beat a crippled Browns team the second time. We beat you guys once.
They was already in the playoffs in the number one seed. Did you see what they did to the number one defense?
They crushed them.
In the rain. In the rain is what I'm trying to tell you.
Because Lamar couldn't throw. I'm going to be honest with you. The Browns game kind of showed me you got Lamar's assets are he's got a great arm, but he's got greater other things. His running game, his scramble, like all the other things he's better at.
But you can say, but look, if you do this like this, like I know everybody praises Patrick Mahomes' arm, right? He's one of the best throwers of the football ever.
The rocket, right.
Lamar Jackson's running is better than Patrick Mahomes' throwing. It's like so people always want to. His running is. I would take his running, put his running because you could put him at running back. You could. He's not a running back, but you just think about it.
But he could
put his skill set on a running back. I don't even know how I'm trying to say this, but I'm confusing myself. But what I'm saying is, his running ability is better than Patrick Mahomes' throwing ability. So it's like, his throwing ability, Patrick Mahomes is up here. He's not terrible. He can throw the ball. Like, he makes great throws. Sometimes he just, all these... I watch Aaron Rodgers overthrow people this season. I watch a lot of quarterbacks that's supposedly deadly accurate overthrow people this season. I watch Patrick Mahomes.
He get away with
a lot of stuff that it's not always going to be that easy for him. Those flip throws, and he's not going to keep making. He got the fastest guy that's ever played football on his team.
Yeah, it's
People
true.
take that into consideration. Sammy Watkins is fast. He's fast. Travis Kelce is the best. So it's like, I don't know if it's. The Browns was terrible. The Browns, when they fell apart like week 11.
We fell apart when Myles Garrett left.
Yeah, when he did the helmet thing, I think that was it for you guys.
So I want to further your point. To only strengthen your point, Lamar's not just running the ball like a quarterback runs the ball for 5 yards, for a good 10 yards. No. His all right run is for 25 yards. His great run is for 50 yards. This man's got long runs under his belt. The only thing, though, that I want to push back on is when you do go watch that Browns and Baltimore second game, the one thing that was just so highlighted for me, and what made it so hard, I think it was, for a Browns fan, salt in the wound because we were in it and we were half the team we should have been. What killed me was you could see what gave the Ravens offense strength and what really hammered us, even final nail in our coffin, was also on the other side of the token, the fact that we had no pressure on Lamar. You could just see the thing that excelled.
Lamar?
You throw a Myles Garrett dinosaur out there, baby.
It doesn't, listen, we watched the San Francisco 49ers try to use their pass rush. It doesn't work. Because if you get too far afield, he's going to make your whole D-line look silly. This is one of those things where it's like, remember when they played the Browns the first game, right?
And
we didn't get to talk about this. They lost. You know, Jimmy Smith was hurt.
You're right.
We didn't have Marcus Peters. Jimmy Smith was hurt. The linebackers was hurt. Tavon Young hadn't played none this season. I think is that when Tony Jefferson got hurt?
He did get hurt.
We was banged up on defense. Brandon Williams
that was probably the height of our
That was when y'all was supposed to be Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Jarvis Landry had 100 yards at halftime. So I think second game, they wasn't on it. Jimmy Smith was out there. Marlon Humphreys was out there. Marcus Peters was out there. It was a little different story. It's like we got to look at personnel too. Yeah, y'all didn't have Myles Garrett, but y'all still had some of them other guys.
Ogunjobi let me down big time. He was being blocked
Vernon
so
was out
hard.
there, wasn't he?
Vernon was being blocked. I will. You're right.
Ravens offensive lineman was mauling
and
people.
Then we sat Randall. I don't know why we did that. Just a whole bunch of nonsense.
Did he not get suspended?
No, he didn't.
For that, what game was that?
It was the Steelers game. So he got kicked out of the game like a quarter before Myles was suspended. Yeah. And listen, cheap shot, yes. Listen. I don't even want to get in it. That play was his own problem. But what really stinks is we have a juvenile coach that clearly didn't know what he was doing because he was a dope. And he sat Randall. Dude, Kitchens sat Randall when he was healthy in his prime because they just didn't get along.
See, the thing is, though, like with Kitchens, man, and if you look at, like, for me, from my perspective, from what I see is that Kitchens wasn't really the coach per se.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It was the GM,
and that's why they fired them both.
That's what I'm saying. So it's hard for me. It's just sad that Kitchens had to take the fault like this, and he was thrown into the fire like this because prior to him when he was the offensive coordinator, I see y'all messed up. Y'all should have made Greg Williams the head coach, and y'all should have made Kitchens the coordinator because Greg Williams is equipped to control a Odell. A Baker, he's equipped for all of that.
Same time.
Yeah, he's equipped for all of that. So I think Kitchens took a lot of the blame. But what was the Browns' record?
That year we were 1-15.
No. What was that this year?
Oh, this year we did worse. We were 8. I can tell you for sure.
Was that 7-9?
Yeah, probably because we were 8-9-1. So that makes 100% right. Or I'm thinking we did better 2 years ago with Hugh Jackson.
Last year.
Yeah. Here I'll tell you for sure. Of course, it won't just give me that.
It's right there. 6-10.
Where are you seeing this?
Browns 6.
Oh, I'm a moron. Thank you. 6-10.
This is the thing.
That's terrible, bro.
Bro, but just 2 years ago, y'all was 0-16. It's like
1-15, then 0-16.
That's what I'm saying. I think we forget that. Oh, y'all had the sample size last year, but the year before, 2019 or 2018 season, y'all had that sample size. Y'all look good. Y'all had some good wins down the stretch. But it's like one of those things where do you not realize that y'all might have just rallied when the coach got fired?
Probably. Whoa!
It's just what I'm saying. Like, I
No,
think
that's a strong point,
I think,
Terrell.
like, everybody wanted to like blame somebody for y'all. Y'all wasn't. I never for once thought the Browns was going to the Super Bowl. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's just like, I'm just gonna be real with you. Like, who thought the Browns was going to the Super Bowl? I mean,
I think truthfully, everybody who doesn't watch Browns football, right?
But it's the NFL. One or two moves don't make a like. This team got to come together. Is Baker ready for this? I said that. I think I said that on the first podcast. We got to see where he's at. Like, it's about getting better every year. This year he took a step back.
So I want to hear your opinion on this. Then I just probably maybe 10 podcasts ago. It was over winter break, and we pulled up an article on how Baker said he has no intention of getting a quarterback tutor. He knows what he needs to work on. He knows what he needs to do to make himself better, and he doesn't need a quarterback tutor. Now,
I think that was taken out of context.
It definitely was.
Yeah,
it definitely was. And giving him, the benefit of the doubt, it definitely was. But also, to me, it also spoke to him blinding himself from his imperfections. He seems like somebody that will always deflect on others before he ever considers putting blame on himself.
So you I think, you didn't get a chance to watch when he was up there with Rex Ryan?
No.
He seemed all the stuff you said, he walked back all of that stuff. He was saying it like, it's my fault. Like, the thing is with Baker Mayfield is he's the underdog kid. He come from that underdog mentality, so he feel like I gotta be better. He wasn't saying it in the context of nobody can help me be better. He was basically saying, I gotta look myself in the mirror. No quarterback coach, no guru, and nobody can tell me what I gotta do to be better. I gotta work on myself mentally. And that's all he was saying, I think. But I think the media building it up. Baker Mayfield said he don't. No, it wasn't that. It was him saying that it starts with me.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I'm arguing with fans. I'm shaving my mustache after the game.
Three times during a game.
He was talking about himself. He wasn't talking about nothing else. Like, I think we ignored it. He's a second year in the NFL. This NFL thing, teams catch up. Aqib Talib said it best. When we played against the Browns, we know, I think it might have been the right. Baker Mayfield loves to roll out to the right. So we would literally make him roll out to the left. Shit, it's the NFL. They know. These people get paid to scheme. So it's like, before we throw him under the bus, let's give him another year.
Of course. I definitely agree.
Let's give him a shot. Like, we got to give him a shot. We got to give
Chubb the ball more.
Yeah. Hey, y'all got to run the offense through Chubb.
Yes.
He is the guy on the team, man. He needs to get more carries. He needs to be the vocal point. Like y'all don't have the Browns didn't have an identity.
Right.
That's the issue with the Browns. They have an identity. A lot of them, if you look at the playoff teams and the teams who won the championship, the Chiefs, what do they want to do? They're going to air you out.
Right.
The 49ers, what they're going to run the ball and they're going to get after the quarterback.
Right.
What did the Ravens want to do? They're going to come out and run that ball down your throat. And then you're going to have to stop it and they're going to make a couple highlight plays to Lamar downfield. It's game time. What was the Browns' identity?
We don't have anything.
1 week Chubb's got 30 carries.
It should be Chubb. The identity, as you're saying, definitely needs to be Chubb.
1 minute he got 30 carries. The next game he got 8. And Odell and Jarvis got 18 targets apiece.
So this is what killed me the most. So looking at Chubb's stats for his last game, 2 targets and then average 3 carries? Or is that average 3 yards?
3 yards a carry. So if you do the math.
So where's the carries on here?
Average carries? Just do the math. That's 28.
30, okay.
Yeah, that's 28. What that is, 2 games times 28, that's 16. 16 carries a game.
Well, so how much did he... No, I'm curious how much he got in that Bengals game. I remember the stat being super low. He only had like 6 carries or 6, run attempts the entire game.
Yeah, he went from averaging... Look at the stats. He went from averaging about 20 carries a game to 14 carries a game down the stretch. Why? It's why? Because y'all want to get Odell the ball? Odell was hurt.
Yeah. No, well, how much of Odell's injury, the groin injury, is... it was... 3 weeks left. It was before the last game against the Ravens. I'm sitting at a bar with a buddy of mine in Cleveland, and this, drunk, crazy dude talking nonsense. He looks at us and he hears us talking Browns. And he brings up to us how, you ever, just watch Odell getting off the line. He is the slowest getting off the line he's ever been, and I believe the groin injury is to excuse him being the slowest he's ever been getting off the line.
Have you ever had a groin injury?
Oh, listen. I had a hernia.
It's the worst, one of the worst injuries you can have.
But hold on. If that's the comment, though, it is one of the worst injuries you could have. Can you play through it? Why are you playing through it?
It's one of those things where it's like you can play through a groin injury, but it takes away some of your burst. It takes away some of your shift. You can play. We need you out there. You're Odell. It's like kind of like it opens. It's Odell. A half speed Odell is probably better than who's the fourth receiver.
Here, let's go with. I don't even. I'm trying to think of the dude that we dropped. Oh no!
Oh, you talking about Galloway?
Yes, Callaway. My fantasy team name was Callaway's Blunt Rollers.
That dude stayed in trouble, man.
He loves it. He was there the first week he showed up for the first season.
He was late, wasn't
he? No, he got pulled over, and they found a roach under his car seat, and they let it go. He missed one game, and they let him escape. And then the second season, same thing happened. But I think you make a strong point. You know, Odell at his 50 at his half speed is still 100 times better than Antonio Callaway. So
we can say that.
I
like Baker Mayfield without the star power. Just keep if Landry was out there and a bunch of guys that was just out there trying to get a paycheck and trying to get to where they need to go at, Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback because Baker Mayfield felt like he had to get Landry the ball. He had to get Odell.
That hurt us.
If you look at Landry's stats last year, some games he wouldn't even have a lot of stats. But they was giving him the ball in all these different ways.
But that upset him. That's what upset him.
At the end of the day, are we? See, I think that's where guys
get selfish.
That's what happened with the Cowboys. A lot of guys care about
fantasy numbers. They want it's the branding.
We gotta win some games. Like this is the Cowboys. This you know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those things where, but it starts with coaching. It starts with coaching.
And when you've got a coach who's the manager's puppet and it's his first time coaching, he doesn't know what he's doing.
And when it's your first time, it's almost like you almost got to be the manager's puppet when it's your first head coaching job. It's your first time even being a coordinator because who do you new to this. Dorsey been around for a long time, so he's seen all of it. He was in Kansas City. He was all these different places. He know a lot. So it's like, who would you get advice from? He didn't hire. Who was his coordinators?
His offensive coordinator. Are we talking after Freddie Kitchens?
Oh, with Freddie Kitchens.
We had to hire one halfway through the season.
Who was his defensive coordinator?
See, you're asking me questions that my friends are going to be really upset with me that I don't know.
It's not even the answer doesn't matter because we don't know.
Right.
But see, if you ever look at the Rams, McVay was a young coach, right? But who was his coordinator?
Who?
Wade Phillips.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Older guy, been a head coach, can show you the ropes, things like that. See, stuff like that, like it's important. Stuff like that is very important. You needed an offensive coordinator that knows the game. That way they can teach Baker. Hey, come here. Let me look at the Ravens. They got Greg Roman.
Right.
He had Kaepernick.
That's true too.
You get what I'm saying? You gotta. It's always. I said this to you the last podcast. It starts at the top.
Yeah.
When you got good front office, good head coaches and coaching staff, it trickles down. Look at
so just to wrap up the conversation then for us. One last question I got for you is: so the Browns fire Freddie Kitchens, they fire John Dorsey, and the next step they hire the head coach first, and then bring the head coach in helping them decide on who to hire to be the team manager. So my curious thing for you is, doesn't it seem backwards to have somebody help hire their boss?
Initially, when you look at it from that perspective, it does. But you also got to remember, those two got to get along. They are the two keys to success: the general manager and the head coach. If they don't know each other and they don't like each other and they all fighting for power, when you bring them in like that, them two guys, they got one objective. We trying to win football games. So, however, what do you need, coach? We need this. Let me do my job, and I'm going to get you what you need. So, I get that from that perspective. But what you just said, how you said it, it does look crazy because it's like, who's the fall guy?
Right.
And it's always about the fall guy.
Hey, look at John Dorsey. Set himself up with such a fall guy that they both were the fall guy.
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, the guys that they hired, from everything that I gained, he worked his way up pretty fast, so he gotta have some knowledge about what's going on. So I think the Browns would be better just because they're trying to do it the right way.
And I think the end result of this season is totally different if we don't just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. If we take that halfway point and change the second half of the season like it should have been.
Y'all led the league in penalties and things like that. Like, all that stuff is important. And then y'all had a freaking guy.
And our quarterback was second in the league for interceptions, too. We can't take away from we didn't perform.
You eliminate, like, Jameis Winston had a out-of-body experience this season. But if you take that away, Baker Mayfield would have been easily the worst quarterback this season, interception-wise. That man did 30, though, so it's kind of like... And I'm not going to lie to you. I think Jameis Winston is actually a good... Me personally, I think he's a good quarterback.
I think he's a good quarterback.
I think he just made... He's a Brett Favre gunslinger, so he takes too many chances and he throws a lot of picks. And he
still did better than our quarterback, right? Somebody made it to the playoffs. Hey. Hey, all right. Well... Terrell, we had a lot of great football talk. Just wrapping it up here, one last thing I want to say is Jason Kipnis is leaving the Indians. It's official today, which would be Wednesday. You see him this Friday. So thank you, Jason, for being just a great Indian. We're going to miss you.
I don't even watch baseball.
My
first time yesterday was watching Moneyball.
You know what it is I saw this article, and even though we do have the XFL to try to lean on more this offseason, this time period... all it does is make me crave baseball because football ends, and I know, unfortunately, I'm not getting this till August, so it's one of those just get me baseball. Just get me baseball, and so in that limbo of waiting for baseball to hear one of the pillars of our baseball team, he's just a veteran that's really held our team together, and he wasn't the best this last year for us, but he definitely wasn't the worst, and he was a good veteran to have on our team. Great player for the city, and we're going to miss you. So, we're going to miss you, Jason Kipnis. Hopefully the Indians put some stuff together moving on into this next season. Last thing, weird scenes inside the canyon. Always wrapping up the podcast with this. Make sure you check out this book. We're going to be doing our book club in late May, early June. If you want to check this out, this is a crazy book about how the CIA and the FBI created this 1970s rock scene with, the Doors, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, Frank Zappa. I mean, it goes on. But it's just a really interesting book. So, again, book club, Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon by David McGowan. So, in light of that, please do us a favor. Make sure you share this video if you enjoyed our conversation, if you had any laughs, if we made you laugh, if you learned anything, if Terrell opened your eyes and liberated you from your ignorance in football. Go ahead, share this video. Make sure to like our Facebook page. Find us on Twitter. And, Terrell, thank you so much, man. Like I said, my friends love catching you on this thing.
I love being here, man. This was a great time, man, and we about to graduate, so it's our last freaking time. Well, I'm not gonna say our last time. We may get up before.
I may make Terrell squeeze in here one more time.
We might have to get up before graduation, but we like I said earlier, like we took this journey together, and we talked about football every day, so why not do it on here? Like we always talked about sports, so.
That was it.
Enjoy this, so yeah.
And there's always that's one of the beauties of sports, and that's why when we had all these conversations, it's like there is a sanctity, not just to football, but to sports. It brings people together. Yeah. The fact that we had something that we could bond over, where we've had two different walks of life, where we didn't know each other, but this is a common thread. It's just a nice thing.
It's a great thing, and I mean, you got to think you can tell when people passionate, because if you notice when we was having our sports talk, I might go off on a ramble and forget my whole point.
I get that.
And I gotta come back and be like, that's what we were saying. So it's like that's the love for the sports, and that's what sports do, and bring everybody together and stuff like that. It don't matter where you from or what you got going on. Even even simple things like the Kaepernick conversation. Like, it's still a conversation, and it's like we all agree to disagree. Nobody's wrong. It's just like my perspective, your perspective, the world's perspective. So it's like it's always good to be able to put stuff out like this, because.
And they're the conversations that need to be had.
Yes.
I feel like when we're afraid to say things and tiptoeing around subjects, well, then we don't really get to the bottom of the issues. We really don't get to flush out the problems. Yeah. And so that's why I love this, man. We shouldn't be, when we're talking about sensitive things, we shouldn't be afraid to just Because I don't think anybody, unless you are the Jeffrey Dahmer psychopath, you're the 1% of the population, I don't think anybody truthfully wants to be a terrible person.
No,
it's one of those, liberate us from the ignorance. You got to have these conversations to grow and learn from each other.
It's all about that, though. It's all about healthy conversations. As long as you can learn something from somebody, man, it's always good to have a conversation. It's perspective. Like when you talked about the kickoff, it's like I never really thought about how much the fans enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like the kickoff, and it's like
that changed.
Damn, like I feel bad. Like damn, I do kind of miss the kickoff now.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're feeling that, man. I saw Josh Cribbs, and I'm like,
I get it, though,
wow,
man.
that was a different world. It's a world that doesn't exist anymore. That's why it feels. You're like, whoa.
And that's why
it is
about
something
this.
that's
it's
foreign.
about conversation. It's about connecting and stuff, like my experiences with your experiences and just thoughts. And I guess we consider smart people because we're in law school, so it's kind of like
we're allowed. We've earned it.
We can talk a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm smart, but I know
I'm not an idiot, so we're allowed to talk.
I'm not that smart. Don't put me on.
Oh, don't ever.
But
the man's lived 3 lives over. All right.
Yeah, but I mean, I always enjoy doing this, man, and I genuinely appreciate it. I always watch when you put other people on here and stuff like that. I just don't ever things I don't talk about is politics because I don't pay attention to it. But outside of that, man, sports.
I love it.
Experiences. It's always a good conversation, man.
So like Terrell's trying, but I'm gonna try to sneak him in here one more time.
Oh no, I feel like after this one, I feel good about. I think we should do like a just like a recap, like
getting ready for the next season.
Yeah,
a lot's gonna happen in the next 2 months, man. I bet you by the time we get back together, we know where Tom's at.
And I think in August or September, you know what we could do? We could do like a call-in type of one. Like I'll call.
Guess what? There's this new neurotechnology company. The CEO reached out to me. He wants to do a podcast. So this weekend, I gotta learn how to do a Skype how I can record a Skype conversation. So I will have that figured out this weekend.
What is it?
So here I can. I'll show you all the details after the podcast. But there's a CEO for this new neurological, it's his brain scanning company, and he wants to do some branding. I'm like, hey, whatever, man, I'll learn from you. So, long story, the only reason I brought all that up is it's just I'm going to learn this weekend how to do Skype, so even if it's August and we're about to kick off a football season,
I just let him talk football
you.
And just
you can't escape me, Terrell.
Yeah, just listen to what, how you feel about your season. And like, I try, I love the Ravens, so I'm a little biased when it comes to talking about players.
I'm a little biased too.
You're a Browns biased, and how fitting is it that, they
right next to each other. I love it. I just love it.
I try not to wear Raven shirts and not no hair because I don't want to.
That's
fair. I don't want to turn off the the audience. But yeah.
Hey, let's just like you said. I could be a Browns fan sitting next to like a Bears fan, something random, but it is something poetic. Jets fan. Zach.
He wore a jersey to the Ravens game. Like, come on, man.
But yeah, guys, share, like, do your due diligence. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Terrell. Show Terrell some love so we get him on here again, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it.
You're the best.
We'll be right back.